What is up, everybody? I am Get Flanked. Today we're going to be talking about night raids and arc raiders, specifically some tips on how you can survive and thrive in those night raids. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be a little bit hesitant to jump into those night raids, especially if you're newer to arc raiders. You're having fun during the day, everything's going good. Why do we need to go at night? Well, the reason is because the loot is significantly better at night, especially if you're on the hunt for blueprints. It seems like there's more and higher value blueprints that you find when you're in the night raids versus the day. So hopefully after watching this video, you'll be more comfortable jumping into those night raids and getting those blueprints for yourself. We're gonna start the video with some tips for how to survive more of your night raids and, kind of a mindset shift that I think you have to have when approaching night raids. And then I'll get into some looting tips as far as where I'm having the most luck finding blueprints to help you get in there and get more of those if that's your goal. I think the first thing we have to talk about when it comes to night raids is a bit of a mindset shift. And this is especially true for any of you that are mostly playing solo, have been mostly playing during the days. I think what you're going to notice at night is that people are far more aggressive when it comes to PvP. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to play the game. I'm not going to tell you that you have to be super aggressive, that you have to shoot on sight, that you have to, kill everybody you see. If that's not how you want to play the game, go for it. But what I will say is that if you don't at least have your guard up more than you do during the day, you're going to be taken advantage of and you're going to be an easy kill. And that really sets us up for what I think is probably the most important tip I can give you when it comes to night raids and how you need to play differently at night compared to day. And that is that stealth is your friend. You need to try to keep an element of surprise. You need to try to stay as quiet as possible and not give other players indicators of your location. If you do that, you're going to be just fine. If you put yourself in a position where you have an advantage over players that you encounter and they know it, they don't want to fight you most of the time, okay? But once you allow them to hear you, sneak up on you without knowing, that's when they're going to be super aggressive and try to kill you very cheaply. So when you're playing at night, suppressors are really important. Run a suppressor if you can, at least on one of your weapons. That way you can keep that stealth element if you're shooting out a camera or dealing with arc. When you approach a building and you want to go inside, sit outside for a minute in some cover and just listen and see if you hear anybody inside looting. Now, if you hear somebody in there looting, it's time to make a choice. How do you want this to play out? Do you want to try and voice comm to them and loot a different part of the building? See if, they're trustworthy and don't try to kill you when you enter? Or do you want to set up a trap for them and try and kill them as they exit and take whatever they looted? That's up to you and how you want to play the game. The main point I want to drive home is that bringing stealth into that situation is what gives you that choice and the ability for that situation to play out on your terms, hopefully. If you just sprint into a building, the person who's in there hears you, you don't know that they're there, they sit in a corner, as soon as you come around, they blast you, you die. That all played out on their terms. So stealth gives you that ability to make more decisions and decide how you want PvP interactions to play out. All right, so let's say you've used stealth to get up to a building, you stopped outside, you listened, you don't hear anything. Now you need to get inside and loot. What do you do now? How do you handle that? That's a great example of somebody using stealth on me, and there's going to be situations that are unavoidable for you. If you go in and loot, you're going to make noise. If somebody hears it and decides to, camp and exit, then, there's nothing you can do about that. You have to loot. That's the whole purpose of why we're going in, to try to find these blueprints and the good loot. So the thing that I would recommend to help in these situations is that you can loot a little bit and then stop and listen. Loot a little bit more, stop and listen. And it sucks. It takes time. It takes patience, but that's what night requires. It requires you to have your guard up and be more careful. If I had done that in this situation, maybe I hear a sound cue that this guy's close, that he's crouch walking. Even when people are crouch walking, they do put off a little bit of noise. So if I stop at the right time, maybe I hear him, I have my guard up, and then I win this fight. Another element of stealth that you have to consider at night is that you need to keep your interactions with Ark to a minimum, if at all. If you can go through the entire raid and the Ark never know you exist, Perfect. Job well done. The whole thing is that anytime an arc notices you, it's giving other players a notification of your location. It's also making you vulnerable. If you have to shoot down a wasp and reload, somebody's close by, they can unload while you're empty, makes you an easy kill. So the less arc you interact with, the better. Try to be patient and take that extra time to avoid them, maybe a little bit more than you would during the day. Last thing I'll mention on the stealth topic is think about what clothes you're wearing at night as well. You want to be harder to see. So I'm not saying you have to go full dark clothes ninja style, but maybe don't wear the backpack that has a bright lantern on the back that's really easy to see all the way across the map. Just think about that a little bit and make yourself as hard to see as possible. Next tip for surviving at night is that you need to stop stowing your gun. When you're looting, when you're covering short distances, keep your gun readied. The only reason I won that fight is because I had my gun out. I survived with just a sliver of health, and if I had to take the time to pull my gun out, GG's, I'm gone, I'm resetting, and we're going again. So in that short distance right there, just going from one of those rooms to the next, there's no reason to stow my gun. And it's a habit that a lot of people get into. I get it. You are significantly faster. I understand that. But at night, keep that gun out more often. If you're covering a huge distance, sure, put it away. Go ahead. But anytime you're looting inside of buildings or just covering a short little, point A to point B, keep the gun out. Be ready for a fight. You never know when somebody's going to jump out. Okay, let's talk about loadouts a little bit now and what changes from day to night. Here's the big thing I would say is you need to be ready for PvP and you need to be ready to survive a lot of PvP. So that means heals. And then you need to have as many safe pockets as possible for the better loot that you're going to find. So if you can bring an augment that has 2-3 safe pockets, the more the better. I'm showing on the screen right now an example of a nighttime loadout for me. And this is by no means me saying this is the best nighttime loadout. Do this. It's just an example of a loadout that I would bring in night. So I'm bringing the Stitcher for PvP. I've got it leveled up. I feel good with that gun that I can get kills. I've got the Pharaoh for arc and it's got a suppressor on it. So it's going to be able to keep me quiet, keep my stealth up. I'm bringing lots of heals, 2 stacks of shield rechargers, lots of bandages. I'm also bringing lots of ammo. The odds of you getting in multiple PvP fights are high. So lots of ammo. And I'm also bringing traps. That's going to help me if I get into a building, I can set the traps up, give me a warning if somebody's trying to creep up on me. That's a big deal. All right, guys, that's going to do it for how to survive at night tips. Last thing I'll say here is that it's not a crazy difference. It's not a night and day difference. See what I did there? Between night raids and day raids, okay? It's more aggressive. It's more PvP. You have to have your guard up. You need to be using that stealth. Absolutely. But it's worth it. You get better loot, and I'm actually enjoying night raids more than day raids right now. I try to seek out those night raids in the majority of the time that I'm playing now because I'm enjoying that extra loot. So, hopefully this gives you the confidence to jump in there, get that better loot for yourself, find those blueprints. If you enjoyed this, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll have more coming your way here soon.